But there was actually something missing, and I didn't actually realize that until now. What are we expecting? We place these society normals onto children, and they grow up being the next generation. Life was hard, life is better now, I am on a journey. I've been blessed that I have the best outcome that one could imagine in a fairy tale.
Meet Ling Anne, a co-founder of Project Green Ribbon, a grassroots initiative reshaping how Singapore discusses and approaches mental health. Her story, marked by instability, trauma, and survival from a young age, has become the foundation for an advocacy rooted in empathy, storytelling, and healing. Today, Ling leads a team that dismantles stigma and creates safe spaces for conversations that were once kept in silence. Her work is a reminder that healing isn't just individual, it's collective. Ling, welcome to OpenHaus.
Thank you.
I want to, ask you, how have you been?
I have been good. I mean, that's what everyone will say, right? I've been going through a lot of healing on my own, enlightening year for me during this break.
Now, let's start with something that, I feel that many of us sort of struggle with. In Singapore especially, we have this mindset where, we keep pushing ourselves all the time to be better, to do better, whether it's especially for youth, right? Get better grades, do better, right? So vulnerability sometimes, is often seen as like a weakness, right? In your space, you've come out and shared your story. What prompted you to do that?
I don't see vulnerability as a weakness. I actually see it as strength. Because if you're able to actually share the pain and turn it into purpose for other people, you're not only helping other people but yourself first. So for me, it was not so much about other people. It was more about me having to heal, me having to recognize my own story and my own shame. I think shame is something that all of us deal with at some point in our life. And that's something that, we always want to keep it hidden. We don't want people to see. We don't want people to find out what it is, right? And we don't even want to think or talk about it. But these things actually stay in our body. And even though our mind can consciously block it away, our body will actually react to it naturally. And so for me, I realized that if I keep going round in circles, I'm not going to go anywhere. My healing is not going to go anywhere. So I decided to share my story because of that. But at the same time, it was also for Project Green Ribbon because of
Right.
the work that we were doing. Yeah.
What was the most significant change for you when you started sharing your story?
I actually went back, I re-looked at them, I went to hear what I was saying again, and I reflected a lot about what went on in my life as a third party. How would I have reacted? How could I have actually felt? How could I actually have responded in those times? That was something that was very helpful for me. It really helped me a lot because I noticed that there were a lot of youths who are going through the same thing, parents who are going through the same thing, and these people actually needed help. That was very significant. That really helped me a lot. Yeah, it's like me healing, me journeying with you is also journeying with myself.
Could you, share with us a little bit about your childhood and, what memories sort of stood out to you the most?
I don't actually have any memories that stood out to me. I have a lot of memories that are told to me. Memories that are not great or common. I don't actually have these memories, but mine was very different. I think the most major thing was actually about my mom, finding out who my mom was. A stranger called an auntie was my mom. I think that is the biggest thing that stood out for me at about 8, 9 years old.
How was that like? Because you went from a foster home at a young age and then you lived with your great grandmother, and then finally you moved into this home with your auntie, who actually turned out to be your mother.
Primary school years, it's still just confusing. You act out, right? You probably start running away from home, doing things that are not right. And these are actually a 9, 10 years old child way of actually probably asking for help. Moving on as a teenager, I think it then became different. I rebelled more. I was very fearless. I was not scared of death because it was already too painful for me. So I would do anything, anyway, many that were not right, but the best that I knew at that point in time. That's when I think I settled down a bit more because I had a child So, it became a lot like reflecting when I look at my kids. Like, is this the kind of mother I want to be? Is this the kind of person I want to be? Like, what's going on with me? But what do I do now?
Right. What's next,
Yeah, like
basically?
how? Right? And then everyone's like telling you, oh, let go. They're like, okay, can you show me how to let go?
Right.
Right? It's
Yeah.
not
It's not
something you can.
easier said than done. Yeah.
I think they are not aware that trauma stays in the body. It's not something we can pick and choose. Everyone has trauma. Some people's trauma are activated and some are not. One of the books that I read was The Body Keeps Score, realizing that there are a lot of responses in my body that will respond on its own without me having to do anything.
How did you find out that this auntie was actually your biological mother? In that moment, how did you make sense of it?
Wow. I never did. I think I buried it. I was very angry. I was always saying I wanted a normal family. And, adults around me would say, Ling, there is no normal. And then I'll be even more angrier. So it's
Right.
always like people trying to give me their perspectives to make me feel better because they know this is a situation that they cannot and I will not feel better. Even recently, through these years, I still go through these emotions like, why did this happen? Why does it seem like I'm doing my best, but I'm still stuck in the same cycle, and loop?
You did mention in previous interviews that there was some control and criticism that was in that environment. Or rather, what prompted you to want to not be in the house?
Based on my memory, I've not lived in that house for more than 2 years consistently. As a child, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was missing. I was just not able to explain it. It was something that my body knew I was searching for, but I could never put a finger as to what was missing, what was wrong, what was not okay in that house, and the words that kept coming up. I think until I was 30, 31, even in a few of my past interviews, were that the house was cold. The house was empty, right? It was dark. It was very hollow. But there was actually something missing in me. And I didn't actually realize that until now.
Right. You had a relationship at a young age, right? And then that must have been a bit traumatic. So let me know if this is something you want to talk about. The reason why I ask this is very often when young girls enter toxic relationship, if things go bad, right, the blame is often shifted to them. How can we, not just as parents, as educators, as a community, better support our daughters and also teach our sons that about accountability and consent?
A child and every person is born as a blank piece of paper. As parents, our job, as educators, our job is here to actually guide them, support them at the side, not journey, and not to walk for them. Whether it's daughters or it's sons, right? They are not able to value themselves because parents and role models around them in society is not equipping them with those skills. You mentioned earlier the girls, okay, something happened to you because you didn't dress properly. What about the question turns back towards you, which is, what could I have done to actually teach
My
or
child.
advise my child better? What kind of values have I placed in my child? Whether it's a girl or a boy, doesn't matter. Same thing for the
Absolutely,
boys,
yeah.
right? Don't cry. Don't feel.
Like you have to be strong.
Why?
Yeah.
It's a child. Why can't he cry? It doesn't make sense. He can cry because he has feelings too, just like a girl can cry too. So we place these society normals onto children and they grow up being the next generation. So what are we expecting? Then don't complain. That's a fact, right? Don't
Right.
complain. If you want something to change, be the change yourself first. It may not be perfect. I'm not saying it's easy, but we keep trying.
What is something that you tell your children now to ensure they make the right decisions for themselves? Especially in today's day and age, right? Because they have so much exposure online. At least, point them in the right direction. What can parents do?
I think presence is important. Intention is important. Educating ourselves as parents is important. As a person, what are my values? I think that's very important because then Before I am a parent, I'm just me. And then I have different shoes. Today I have to be a mom, and then next I'm an employee, or I'm a housekeeper for the day, and then
Driver
I
for the
drive.
day
Yeah, and
as a
then
mother.
mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. You know, there are many,
So
many,
many different
so many
roles.
shoes. Why I keep talking about values is because if we don't know what we want, there's only so much we can do. You can't say I'm going to teach you to do this, teach you to do that, when I don't practice what I preach. And it's really, really easier said than done, okay? I have failed so many times. Like, for example, a common thing is I say, I'm not going to shout.
But it's hard to do, I'm sure, as a
It's
mother.
impossible. My kids see this one day, right? Mommy admitted I still shout all the time. Okay, I'm being honest to myself and to my kids. But I think what I have always said to them is, whether I'm angry, whether I'm sad, whether I made a mistake, whether I screamed and I yelled, and I told them, it's always the same thing. I want you to know I didn't give up and I kept trying. Life was hard. Life is better now. I am on a journey. And they know that I'm on a journey. They don't know the full details. Eventually they will. But I think the purpose is just to let them know that I'm a work in progress. Day in and day out, I always say to them, I'm not perfect.
At 15, you became a mom. You said that when you held your baby, it changed how you viewed things. How did that happen? What happened in that moment for you?
The minute I carried her and I looked at her, right, I was like, I will never let you go. I
Oh.
immediately felt love for this child.
And how did that, that love push you to, make some changes for yourself?
I think it happened on the day when I was going to give birth. Yeah, I just came home after meeting some friends, and this friend of mine, she has delivered before. So she says like, hey, I think you're probably going to deliver soon. Just monitor it. So I was like, oh, okay. Went home 1 hour later, started to feel a bit off. So I made a phone call to baby's dad, and he answered me, I am eating with so-and-so at this place nearby, very near me. That's like 10 minutes drive. I'll come and bring you to the hospital after I've eaten.
Oh my, okay.
I stood there on the phone and I said, okay. I hanged up. I looked at the sky and I said, Ling, if you choose baby, I will suffer. If I choose him, baby's gonna suffer. It was that pivoting moment that I said, I was crying, I was very upset. I was saying, no, I'm gonna choose baby. I will suffer and it's okay. Then I went to the hospital. I did everything. Yeah, the hospital was another huge major thing because my mom didn't come. And moving forward, I think I tried to care for baby, tried to bring baby home, tried to feed baby, and baby gave me purpose. She gave me hope. I was on my own very much. Yeah.
Were you able to get, I think, even if it's not from family, like external support, like from the system and things like that?
It was very messy, so I'm not going to really go there because it was really very messy. It was like a bit here, a bit there, touch base kind of a thing. And then eventually I had to give baby up.
Right.
Yeah, it was just a very short time.
Does that experience sort of influence the way you parent now, like as a mother?
I don't know actually.
Right.
Very different stages, very different
experiences in life.
very different maturity. And that's something actually similar I see my youth today as well. I mean, it's not that they have a baby, just that when you're in a distressed state, right? It's very difficult to be able to have space to just decompress your own thoughts.
Right, and reflect.
Yeah, you don't have it. And that's why the model that we have built in the Green Health Sanctuary, we emphasize on giving it 3 days. So our Green Health Sanctuary runs for 3 days. It's a little bit like an A&E youth crisis sanctuary that we've built. It's because in that 3 days, we want to give the youth a space to decompress. Every person who is in a distressed state, they know what they need. They have done the best, but our best may not actually be the best. It's the best that we know of because of our environment. And until we have space to actually clear up our lenses a little bit, tilt our head a bit to the left, to the right, we might actually see new things, different perspectives. But only when there's space can we absorb them in. But if we don't have space and you keep pouring water into a cup, it's just going to keep overflowing.
Right.
right? And then if you keep pouring all sorts of things, the water's going to turn muddy.
Indeed. And murky.
That's not what
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah. So you have described, your trauma as a Netflix of trauma. Could you explain, like why did you feel that way?
I actually didn't say that. Someone told me, and then I thought, yeah, that's quite a easy way
Interesting
to put it.
describe.
Yeah, because it's so dramatic. I think today my healing is very different. I had a very bad episode. I've always thought I was getting better. Like I've done interviews. I seem to be doing fine, and then I came to a point very recently where I hit a block when I had enough. You knew that you're done. I couldn't hear the kids. I wasn't able to function. I was crying. I felt so much pain that I couldn't describe to you. The heaviness that I was carrying in my body was something that I'll never want to go through again. It was very dark. And this darkness is a point where I cannot do this anymore. I told my husband, he was there with me the entire time. I was numbing out, I'm hearing noise, but I just cannot function beyond that. Because I kept crying, I said, I'm very sorry. I really cannot do this anymore. I really, really cannot do this anymore. And then he said, it's okay. If you want to rest, you can. So when he told me that, even when he told me that, I looked at him, I saw a lot of pain in his eyes, but it was something that I couldn't even take it in. So that was how bad it was. I was quite ready to just end things.
How did you come out of it?
I know might not apply to everyone out there, but for me, I think God saved me. God really saved me.
You recently actually reconnected, I think, with your biological father.
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
The best way to describe this about my reconciling with my dad, I've been blessed that I have the best outcome that one could imagine in a fairy tale. So I actually knew of his name when I was around 9. And of course, my mom flared up when I asked him, like, is this his name? And she went hysterical on that day with me.
At
But
that
you
time,
wonder
yeah.
through the years, who is he? How does he look like? And then you're like, better not. What if he turns out to be a nightmare? Then recently, my husband and I were having dinner. And out of the blue, he said to me, if I'm very rich one day, there's something I want to do. I looked at him and said, like, what? He's like, find your dad. I'm like, huh? And then I was like, no lah, I don't want to find. What if I find and then, waste my money? It turns out to be everything that I don't want. Yeah. But I couldn't help it. So I went back that night, went to my storeroom, dig out the health booklet, looked through my entire records. I just had a very strong feeling that day I had to do this. I started looking through. I was like, 1992. I was still fat. I was from this hospital. I went for checkup. Oh, who paid for all these things? I managed to find some records of him. I tracked him down from there. Went to dig social media. Found him, found his wife. I knew everything about him suddenly. And then I found him around 5 a.m. So from 8 p.m., I found him at 5 a.m. that morning.
Wow, within the day?
To be exact, I found him at 2 a.m.
Wow.
I found him from 2 a.m. and I started digging from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Then I found everything.
Right.
Then I went to sleep. And the next day, I went down to his house in the evening. Yeah, so the first call, I went to a house that wasn't his. And then the person, I asked 3 times, 3 different names I gave out. The first name, he was like, no, there's no such person. Second name, I'm like, no such person. So I took her, I said, cannot be, right? I was going to walk away. Then I went back. I was like, how about this name? Then he said, oh, who are you? I said, I'm his daughter. Can you please call him? And he went to call. He came downstairs. He gave me the phone. I was waiting outside the house. And the first thing he said is, hi, my Chinese name, 我是你的爸爸. That's what he said, exact words. And I was like, do you still live at this address? He says, yeah. I said, can I come now? And he replied me, 可以呀. In that tone, when I picked it up, the way he said it's like, yes. My brain was like, wow, how
are you so readily
Yes.
accepting of the situation?
Yeah. I was on the way there, I was crying. So when I arrived at the house, the wife and him were sitting on the table.
Waiting for you?
Waiting for me. I went in and then he told me everything. And in that moment, he even had a photo of me.
As a
One
child.
photo. He was carrying me for my 1-year-old birthday. And it was taken on 15th of August, 1992. The day I found him was also 15th of August.
Oh, wow.
We did not know that actually. I know that I found so many similarities of myself that I always wondered, but I found it all with him.
And how was it like? Have you introduced him to your family, like your children?
Yes, yes, my kids. Yeah, everyone was very shocked. They
Yeah.
told me what happened. There were a lot of details of what happened. And I have found the answer. My body knew that I was searching for my first safety.
Which was your
And
dad.
yes, it was my dad. It's and that's the peace that I found in my life. For me, my story has always been to myself. I was abandoned. That's a fact. I was unwanted. I'm unloved. To suddenly hear someone say, I'm your dad, with no hesitation, it's not in my blueprint.
At what point did you realize that your story is a sense of strength and not something that you carry guilt about or shame? That contributes to your sense of self as well.
I know logically that yes, it can give people hope. I don't feel it.
Even until today?
Yeah, I don't. I still feel the pain because I'm still working, right? I'm still in progress. Not for everything. Some things I've worked on and it's a story to be told. I don't feel anymore. So no more bullets for me. No more ammunition. But there are many other things that I still have to work on. But in general, yes, I still do feel pain.
You were inspired to start this with your husband,
Mm.
right? And Project Green Ribbon is actually a non-profit, right?
Yeah.
Organization that you take in youth in crisis,
Mhm.
and you provide refuge and support them. Now, what prompted you to want to help others, or was it purely to find purpose for yourself first?
It was purely myself. It was purely about my pain, turning my pain into purpose because I wanted a way out for myself, but I also didn't know how to deal with the pain. It helped me sort of like distract, divert,
Right, because you were doing
feel
other things. Yeah.
purposeful, right? And that's the truth, yeah.
You have shared that the focus should be
Mm.
preventive, right? So how does Project Green Ribbon support that?
Trying our best to actually equip them with a sense of safety in the moment, allowing and helping them co-regulating with them. It's very little that we can do because we journey with them for a shorter period of time. At this point in time, I would say 3 days to 2 weeks probably.
On average.
Yeah, but it doesn't end there, right? Human relationships don't just end there.
Now, based on your experiences, Ling, working with the youth, what are some key challenges that you see with those through to Green Ribbon?
A lot of them actually have families who are dysfunctional. Some of them are families who are functional with too much expectations on them. Financial struggles, they're emotionally dysregulated, long history of adverse childhood experiences.
In the recent incident, I don't know if you've seen this, the one with the Sengkang Primary School, the children were bullied. What lessons can parents learn from these sort of incidents?
Okay, so this is a very sensitive topic because there are so many people
Involved,
involved,
yeah.
so many perspectives, and there's no right or wrong. But I think the first thing that came to me was, where did the child learn this from? It's a very large word for a 9-year-old. So I feel for the child to a certain extent. Where and what has been going on in your life? Then, of course, the parents. Lack of presence, too much presence. We never know the circumstances of the parents themselves who's trying to make ends meet. And then, of course, the child who was bullied and the family as well, right? They would also be thinking, I sent my child to school to be safe. And I think the question then, as parents ourselves today, would be, what am I doing today for myself so that I am in tune with my child's emotions? When we are aware, we are able to actually put in effort versus being totally unaware. That's the difference, and
Right.
see what does our child need from us, because every child needs something differently and every
Right.
household runs differently. Are you letting society groom your child for society, or are you grooming your child for themselves?
Yeah.
The truth is, every child and every parent will have a different relationship. So every child has a different parent, even though they are siblings. Right? That's why you
Right.
say that's why there's this
Thing
talk
called
about favoritism or not fair. And this also stems because every pregnancy is different.
Parents also feel that I have to be right because I'm the parent, right? They feel that I cannot be imperfect. And that's hard. It's a silent struggle that they carry with them, right? What are some warning signs that parents can look out for, especially in their youth, that okay, there's something not clicking with my teenager?
You will know it. You just know. Yeah, you will know because the signs don't come suddenly. I think the question would be, how do you even feel towards your child first? It's never spoken, and no parent will say, I actually feel very angry. If you are not able to face it yourself as a parent towards yourself, right? Because it's difficult, because it's guilty, because it's shameful, that, I actually can't stand it when my son does this because of whatsoever, or,
Right.
that I'm actually making a mistake. I know it's not his fault, and I'm screaming and I'm shouting all the time because I cannot regulate myself. So I cannot co-regulate with him.
At home, right? What can parents like? How do you do it? Like, what do you take like 5 minutes to take a breath and then have that conversation?
I ground a lot. I do this a lot. I hand haven a lot now. So
This
it sends.
gesture, you mean?
Yes,
Ah,
it's a
okay.
havening technique. The hand havening actually grounds you and brings you back. So it's like touching, or just being in the moment, or pressing your feet down, or even tapping. They do this in therapy. Tapping techniques as well.
Touching, like
Yeah,
feeling
touching,
yourself.
feeling
basically.
yourself. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know how to explain them yet, but
Yeah.
I've learned them and how
And
to
it
apply
works
them,
for
and it
you.
works. It
Right.
works for all the people that I've known, who has actually done it regularly and enough, so that it actually decompresses your system and send the right signals and delta waves to your brains. Don't wait until something happens, then de-escalate. De-escalate before that.
Right.
Self-care routine is important. Self-care / self-love, very important. That's why I know just now we were talking about my hair.
Right. Yeah, it looks great.
My nails and my hair, I was like, it's a luxury, it's a luxury.
Right.
But I've learned that I have to prioritize myself. I must. Initially, I was like, no, I don't waste money to do it. It's not cheap.
Right, it's not.
But I have to prioritize me, because when I do that, I'm showing my kids that I prioritize me too.
Before I let you go, if you have one message to share with someone who's watching, listening to this, who may feel isolated or disconnected with themselves, or even a sense of shame or guilt, right, that they're carrying with themselves, what's one small step they can take towards healing?
Allowing yourself to feel. Let yourself feel it and let it calm. And let it calm and let it be. Eventually, you will learn how to let it go.
All right. Thank you so much, Ling.
Okay, thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Open House. Remember, for every question that you have, there's a guest out there with the answers. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, subscribe, and share it with anyone who might benefit from this conversation. Follow us on our socials for more updates. Until next time.